Misha, it's so wonderful to have you as a guest today. Welcome to Fit for Women TV. How are you?
I'm doing well. Konnichiwa from Japan.
Well, we appreciate you being a guest today, and I'm excited that you are here because I'm being biased probably, but I think you're phenomenal. You've done so much. And what I consider such a little time, I've known you for 7 years, and in that 7 years, you're on your third business. So
Yeah.
Let's get started at the beginning. Tell us about your first business venture and how that happened.
Right. So I'm an entrepreneur that is very inspired by my experiences, my environment. And I remember vividly when moving to Philly from the DC area, about like the boutique life, the fashion incubation life, and I was just very inspired by that. So while I was, active duty and in grad school full time, I decided why not add pop-up boutiques, getting together with these small local businesses to small local boutiques to, reinforce their boutiques. So I had 4 boutiques amongst Rittenhouse, Old City, and Center City. And I just collaborated with other fashion students and boutique owners to start my pop-up shops.
And tell our audience what experience you had as an entrepreneur in business and in fashion.
None. I had no fashion experience prior to that. I just started it based on the inspiration of my environment.
Yeah, and through that, you had great success. Now, I think that one of the things that I admire about you is not just your tenacity, but you also seem to be very purposeful in what you do. Are you a big planner? How do you come up with your ideas?
I am a huge planner in terms of the way that I navigate my businesses. And you're right, in terms of purposeful. So I really think about, especially with my newest venture, Slumber Potty, I'm starting to pivot and transition into the impact that I can make on the lives of people. So that's where, Slumber Potty was birthed as well. But when you look at my other business ventures, like the fashion pop-up boutiques and luxury picnics of Oki, that's more so my creative side. Mm-hmm. But when you talk about my left brain, yes, I'm all about purposeful, strategic planning, impacts. That's all me.
All right. And so you mentioned Slumber Potty. Tell us about that business and how you got started. What was the motivation?
Right. So specifically for Slumber Potty, I had my daughter, I guess, a little later in life, like closer to 30. So
I'm cracking up. That's later in life.
A little, later, and, I felt very prepared. Like, I got this. I've served in the military. I married, like, I can endure all things. But I will tell you what, motherhood was hands down the most life-changing thing that I've done to date. I looked around, I'm like, people have babies every day. This is gonna be, not that crazy. And it was very crazy. And so I'm like, if I feel like this, I'm sure there's, thousands or millions of other moms who feel like this and will also feel like this. So that's why I started Slumber Potty. So moms don't feel as though they have to, like, this is just a part of motherhood, or suffering is what comes with it. It's not. Okay. So I want moms to know that they have the luxury of not, going through this in a bad place or not suffering. I want them to be liberated, and I want them to be confident in what they're doing as mothers.
That is really impactful, and that's helpful because we know, based on some of the recent US labor statistics, that women have left the workforce in droves, like 3.5 times greater than men, because we bear most of the responsibility. So the service that you provide can help women become more confident? How do you support them? And do they have coaching sessions? What is your program like?
Right. So I do have many courses that are 30 minutes or less. So you can just get in and get out with specific issues. So if you're having issues with nighttime potty training or sleep deprivation in the infancy stage, or kicking your toddler out of the bed because you want your intimacy and me time back, I have those less than 30-minute mini courses. And I also have a monthly membership to where if you need more access to certified professionals in this industry, then you can, pay your monthly membership and you have continuous ongoing support through this instead of just a course. And I also have courses and strategies regarding tantrum prevention and how to be a calm mom. And, when you're going through the chaos, adding siblings and more babies. And so I offer all of that as well.
Oh, that is wonderful. Now, I know if this business was available when I was raising kids, I would have been the first one to sign up.
Because it is nuts. It is very, yes.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
Well, and you have different titles because I didn't even know there was a such thing as is it called a pediatric sleep specialist?
Yeah, so pediatric sleep consultant. Yes. So I specialize in establishing the circadian rhythms for babies to establish their sleep cycles. And in terms of toddlers, the whole bedtime battles, the co-sleeping, the big kid bed, the waking up multiple times a night or waking up super early, and nap transitions, all of those things with toddlers.
Interesting. Do you find that people are like, what is this?
Yeah, it's still very new and emerging. Same thing with potty training consulting. So many moms spend months and months and months in diapers and pull-ups, and there's easier ways to navigate potty training, but that's a profession, just like pediatric sleep. So
we're exposing our audience to different types of opportunities. I know
right.
that, and if I didn't meet you, I probably would not have heard of this. And I have a lot of young people in my life, and so I'm ready to pass this information on. Congratulations to you. You noticed that there was a challenge for you, and then you said, well, how can others benefit from it? And that's how that idea was born.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
right.
And same thing with my positive parenting and disciplining coaching. I noticed when my daughter got, around the terrible 2s and 3-nagers, I was, you get tempted to, go off the handle with them. But I was like, I wanna change the generational direction of how I'm disciplining. Old school was very corrective, whooping, spanking, throw a shoe at you, but
I shared on my Facebook the other day a quote that said, when I grew up, breathing hard was considered talking back. So I know exactly what you mean.
Exactly. So I wanted just to create a disciplining model to where you're connecting with your child. So when they become teenagers, it's not, oh, I can't call my mom. My mom's going to kill me. It's going to be, I want to talk to my mother, so it's a strategy that helps you build life skills with your toddler young, because they're very impressionable at this age. And so you can have a higher connection with your child instead of the power struggles.
Yes. And you know what? I just thought of this, but I am sure that those skills are transferable to any part of your life.
Yeah, communication.
Yes.
Somebody asked me, a mom asked me in my group, when does tantrum stop? And I'm like, they don't stop. There's adults that have tantrums because they don't know how to communicate or emotionally cope. So adults still have tantrums if you never learn that skill of emotional management and communication. So
you might have answered that question for a whole lot of folks in terms of why adults are still struggling. Right. So how do you stay motivated? It's saying, the baby, the businesses, you're on the go. What keeps you energized, focused, engaged?
So I think it's very important in order for people to have the grit to stay in it. and have the motivation to stay in it is to have a vision. So I have a very clear, vivid vision of what I want my lifestyle and life to look like for my family. And so I always keep that finish line in perspective. Okay, so there's very trying times in entrepreneurship, but I always keep the end goal in mind and what I want to pass off to my generation and the generation after and so forth. So it's you have to have a vision to keep you going. If you just think short term, you're going to burn out.
Yeah. And I know that although, you've had some very exciting things happen, there's probably been some challenges. And if not, will you share what you think is the best way for individuals who, they might think, I want to get started with something, but I don't have the skills. I don't have the money. I don't have the this or that. What would you say to a person like that?
So for a lot of gurus say, oh, just don't overthink it, just do it. And I don't really say that. Because I do think it's important to sit back and strategically do things like market research and, things like that first before you just throw all this money and time and energy into an idea that you may think is great, but the market does not. So that's step 0 to that. But a lot of entrepreneurs tie success to sales. Okay, did I make this sale? Did I get that client? Did I, all of those things? And I just think it's very important if you're in the long game of entrepreneurship to celebrate the small wins. And that is every email subscriber, every new Facebook group member, every new, podcast interview you get, exposing yourself to their audiences. I think you need to really hone into celebrating the small wins and looking at challenges as learning opportunities to pivot, to transform your business into something else that works for the market. So I used to view it as, these are challenges and why isn't this going the way I want it to go? But as entrepreneurs, we have to be the adaptable, person in the marketplace.
Yeah. I often say as well, you either win or you learn. But I try not to think about things as failures because every experience that I know I've had as an entrepreneur has taught me something, and sometimes taught me something valuable. Even when I lost a lot of money, I still gained skills in going through that process. So I like that. All right, so I'm gonna end with this question. What's your advice to someone who is wanting to make a change in their career? They want to pivot. They want to transition just like you. I know you said market research, but in terms of maybe more of a mindset, what do you think are the skill sets that are necessary?
So I think the first thing that you have to do is to flip your mindset of I could do it all by myself because without a village of support or help or outsourcing, going on Groupon, finding a house cleaning service or a laundry service to help you out, without a village of support, you're really going to burn out. So I really stress that asking for help and outsourcing help is going to be very, very vital in those first few years of entrepreneurship, to take that off your plate so you can focus on business tasks and self-care. A lot of we're just now coming out of this hustle and grind, philosophy. Like you got to hustle and grind your way to success. And I don't believe that is the way to success. I believe restoration, having times of restoration and self-care also attributes to your success and replenishing yourself. So I also advise that. And again, while you're going through this, just assess things quarterly, like what's working, what's not working, and then keep going from there. Next quarter, I'm going to keep this, I'm going to throw this out. So it's a journey. It's not instant oatmeal success overnight. It's going to take, those quarters of time for you to realize what works, what doesn't work, and so on, and grow from there.
Yeah. A key thing that you said is ask for help, get support, and see the long journey.
Mhm.
And in 7 years, you created 3 businesses, raising a daughter, reservist in the military, supporting a full-time Marine husband. You can do it all. I believe that. Do you believe that?
I do. It may not go at the pace you want it to go, because of course we slip into these mindsets. If I wasn't married, if I wasn't a mom, like I could be so much further. A lot of moms fall into that trap of not feeling like they're as far as they should be.
Mhm.
But yes, that's why you have to celebrate the wins in the meantime.
Absolutely. Well, Misha, thank you so much. This was so interesting. You're such a wonderful person. I was so glad that we could connect this way. Will you share how people can get in touch with you and your businesses?
Yeah, so Slumber Potty, my website is helloslumberpotty.com. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Slumber Potty. And that's how you can connect with me. I also have a Facebook group, Motherhood Support and Potty Training, Sleep, and Positive Parenting. And that's my private Facebook group for mothers.
And we forgot one. Almost forgot it. The luxury picnic business.
Yeah, so that's over here in Japan. I have a luxury picnic business, Luxury Picnics of Oki. That's on Facebook exclusively. So that's where you can check me out if you're in Japan, know someone in Japan.
I do.
So that's right. So that's where I am.
All right. Well, thank you so much.